I just want to go on record and say that Mad Cave Comics was just like, Marvel and DC may have you in a chokehold, but I'm here to release you from it. They have some really good stories going on right now, and they just started another one. Fucking DJ Khaled. So right now, the one that is on the chopping block for today is Kill Train. And I feel like they are just like, I know somebody loves blood, gore, and violence, like, so we have to write this for them. It's me. I love those things. So getting into this first issue, we are somewhere in the future where population is just out of control. And so we start at this like train graveyard, basically, and there are a bunch of dead people on this train. And this lady is able to pull herself from under the dead bodies and get next to her. It looks like her husband, maybe. And she's like calling out for help. She's like, please help us. And there are some men outside who look like they're kind of like construction workers. They come in and she's like, oh my God, thank goodness that you are here. Please help us. However, instead of helping her, they smack her on the head and kill her with a shovel. And they're just like, these fucking maniacs leave a damn mess every time. And they're like, come on, you guys, we're the cleanup crew. So they start cleaning up the dead bodies from the train. Now, we get into the actual story. It's a woman named Vanessa, and she has moved in with her fiance named Richard. And Richard does not seem like the type of person who cares. For instance, when we get into the scene of them coming in the morning, he's on his computer or whatever, and she has a moving pod that she has yet to unpack for good reason, I'm sure. And she's like, ooh, I'd like to have some coffee. But he drank all of the coffee, didn't make her any, and he was like, well, you live here now, so I figured you could make your own. Is there a problem with you making her a cup of coffee? Then on top of that, he sends her, they call it millets, I guess, which is like the version of money. He sends her some money, or he's going to send her some money, and it's like 10,000 or something like that, so that she has some money because currently she doesn't really have any. And he asked her to pick up his dry cleaning, and she's like, well, I really need to write today. And he's like, come on, look at this place. You get this place plus free money, like, come on. And it's just like, are you okay, sir? Like, what is... And he does say that the place delivers, but he doesn't trust them to not mess up his stuff, which is understandable. And I kind of do feel like she probably could have just went and grabbed it real quick. I don't know. Their dynamic seems a bit weird, and she seems not too comfortable with having to be there with him, which is why she hasn't unpacked her pod. On top of that, she's a writer, and she gets a call after he leaves, and like after she says that she'll go get his dry cleaning after she drops her daughter Kay off. And after he leaves, she gets a call about her story. She's kind of like looking for an update, but they decided to pass on it. And this, of course, upsets her because she doesn't have any money, and she was hoping that like he would do something, her agent would do something for compensation, but clearly not. I feel like she's a journalist. She might be just like an author. Either way, they didn't pick up her story. She didn't get any money. So she does talk to her daughter about the fact that her daughter skipped school the day before, and she found like a taxi pass or something like that in her, and she's like, I'm going to take this. She's like, please go to school. Her and her daughter seem to be really close. So while she's out, she drops her daughter off at school, she meets one of the other parents who is kind of like a friend of hers, and they start talking about the fact that that parent got her story accepted, and she's like, I didn't want to say anything because I know things been a little bit rough for you, and I didn't want you to be mad. She's like, no, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And she starts talking about the trouble that she's having. And she tries to pay for a taxi, and the girl's like, I can give you like the money for a taxi. I don't want you to take a train. So a kill train is actually a government funded thing to reduce population. And they're talking about like the kill train on the news and how the kill train was really successful and that they should have the population under control soon where they won't need to use the kill train anymore. One of the assassins from the kill train is like basically saying they're trying to make it sound like the kill train is like this peaceful transition. It's literally fucking not, and a lot of us just fucking quit. So like, and she was considered to be like a whistleblower. And so that was what was on before she left to take her daughter to school. The woman who was talking to her, whose daughter I believe is Nadine, she was like, I don't want you to take the train, even though it's like a kill train after just having a kill train literally like the day before is not likely. I still wouldn't want you to risk it. And she's like, oh no, I'm totally fine. You know, I've got Richard, he gives me money. But Richard didn't give her, like, she didn't get the money to pay for the taxi, and the taxi wouldn't take her cab pass that she had, her taxi pass. So he literally just drove off and told her to take the train. So she gets on the phone with her mother, and her mother is like basically trying to pin mental illness on her when it's like she's going through a lot. Her story didn't get accepted. She's going through the divorce. She just moved in with Richard. Richard does not seem to give a fuck about her. And just like, she's got a lot of things going on. It's been a rough couple of years. And her mother is trying to basically tell her that she has a mental illness and she needs to go to therapy. And she's just like, bro, like, what? And so she's over at the subway and she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go get on the train. So while she's down there, she does run into somebody who she went to school with, who seems to be a really, really good friend of hers. And, you know, she starts talking about how Vanessa used to be and how she's, like, basically, like, this go-getter. And she's like, was I really? And she's like, oh, you really have forgotten yourself. What? Like, are you good? And so she doesn't want to get into, like, what's going on with her. But while they're on the train, her purse gets stuck. And they're, like, talking about the possibility that another kill train is not really gonna happen. Well, as they're on this train and they're kind of talking to each other, a woman says that the train just passed her stop. And she's like, what did she say? She's like, she just said that the train passed her stop, and she's not wrong. We're passing another stop. Then they pass two people who are waiting for the train to stop, and they realize that they are on a kill train. Meanwhile, on the train, people start dying, like fucking insides are spilling out everywhere. Somebody has a sword in their eye, and she realizes that they are on a kill train. Listen to me when I tell you, I would be so pissed if I'm already not having a good fucking day and I decide that I don't have any money because my fiance, who seems to be like a dick, hasn't given it to me yet, or he's transferred it and hasn't cleared. I don't have any money. The taxi driver is being an ass. Like, somebody who got their story accepted, mine got rejected. My daughter has been skipped a class, and I'm thinking it's because she's struggling with like the divorce and moving in with my fiance again, who seems like to be like a dick. And it's just all these things happening. I just so happened to run into a childhood best friend of mine who remembers more about myself than I do. We're sitting here playing catch up. We get on the train. Y'all just had a kill train last night. Why would you have another one right now, today? And she even makes a point to say that the day after a kill train is the busiest one because everybody gets on the train after that. And then I am on this train. My purse gets stuck in the door with the last straw. And then I find out I'm on a kill train. Oh my God. The way I would be so upset. This story actually seems like it's going to be very interesting and a lot of fun to read, because just the sheer like shock factor of I am now on this kill train. And she seems like the type of person who has a lot to live for, and she's not about to back down, especially when it comes to her daughter. So, but we shall see. I don't really have too much to say about it. I think the artwork is amazing, and I just think that this is going to be a really, really fun story to read. Now, if you haven't gotten the book, please do. Also, check out the podcast. And that is it for this episode of The Doctor's Office, and I will see you guys at your next checkup.